Okay.
I thought he would say all those things but we couldn't get the person. So we got Fernando.
Truly, Fernando, thank you for joining us, and thanks to your lovely wife, because I know you just had your fourth.
One week old,
Week ago.
Ivy. Yeah.
Yeah, so congrats on
Thank
that.
you.
And
I didn't do much, really.
and of course, for taking the red eye, it means a lot to us, and you're going to have an encore tomorrow morning, I know. So I wanted to kind of kick off just by talking about the B2B channel, and I think more than any CMO I know, you really understand the power of promoting what the brands that you work for through conferences and events, through LinkedIn, Twitter, and I think normally you would think, oh, you're CMO of a big consumer brand. Well, obviously TV and outdoor and digital, but B2B is pretty powerful, isn't it, for getting the message out?
Yeah, look, I try to think about the full cycle of things, right? So to do great work, I think you need to have a great team. To have a great team, you need to be able to attract great people that want to come and work with you. And the more great work you do, the more great people want to come and work with you. So I think that as the work that you do starts to break through, I think it's definitely worth promoting the work because I think it basically helps you attract more people, attract partners, unlock doors internally with your own company because they will see that there is some recognition coming from other places. Sometimes people don't understand marketing or creativity or what you're trying to do. And when they see that there is recognition coming and people are engaging from the outside, that will help you build credibility even internally. So to me, it becomes like this virtuous cycle. The more great work you do, it's because you have great people behind the work, and then other people see that work, and then they want to come and work with you or with your brand, and then you get even more great people that can help you do even more great work, and so on and so forth. So I also think that I was always very lucky to really believe on the stuff I was working on, or even when I didn't believe, I felt that I would be capable of changing the things I didn't like about the brand or the company. So I always literally worn the jersey from Burger King for 7 years. I still have half of my wardrobe still is that jersey. If anyone needs Burger King crew member jersey, I still have plenty. And gaming now, I always play video games since I was a kid. I love the space and changed so much. In Unilever before, I truly believed on the differences that the Unilever brands were doing, still do, in people's lives with purpose, social mission. So I always believe on that stuff. So to me, promoting it always felt authentic to me because it was not I need to do a LinkedIn post just because someone is asking me to do. No. It was always a pleasure I was proud to be able to share with people the stuff that we were doing. So it never felt like a chore, like a LinkedIn, Twitter, or none of that. And I always try to giving credit to the people because that's what will get you to do even more great work and get even more great people. So that's, to me, is kind of the foundation of, at least for me, why that's so important.
I love it. That makes so much sense. And those platforms are powerful. And in terms of getting the word out and I think of it as the ripple effect, right? If people start talking within the trade, within the industry, they tell their friends, and that does ultimately, to your point, help build a great team. And again, just get the word out. And I think that people underestimate the power of that. So speaking of great work as well, you've won, countless awards, dozens of Cannes Lions and Clios, et cetera. I know there's kind of a process for that type of acknowledgement. You've got to enter, or the agency enters. How important are those industry awards?
So I think you need to understand like how things work on the behind the scenes to truly value why that's important, and I do think it's important. My bonus at my work was never paid based on awards. Like my bonus is usually paid based on sales or profit or some sort of financial market share or a financial metric. But I always truly believe that creativity can be a source of competitive advantage, and that's something that's creative will probably do better on the long run than something that's just plain vanilla, ordinary. So I always push like hardcore to do things that would stand out and would be memorable, and would deliver the result in a faster, bigger, less investment way. You know, like so. I always believed a lot on that. If when I go to a creative agency, and I'm using that as an example just because you mentioned Clio and Cannes, like when you go to a creative agency, when I was a junior brand manager going to a creative agency, it was very clear to me that there were clients that the creative agency liked to work with, and there are clients that they didn't. Yeah, and if you think about, I don't know how much you guys work with creative agencies, but if you think about the career of people in creative agencies, I know very few people who stay their whole life in one agency. They jump around quite a bit. And the reason, and I've learned that the people who did the best work for me, I lost them every time. And I used to get upset about it. And then I realized that that's just life. You know, and then you need to invest in building the new generation. And the reason why I lost them was because they would do great work, they would get a bunch of awards, and then another agency would come and hire them and put them on a pitch for another brand, and they would be able to say, these are the guys that did Dove Real Beauty sketches, and they are going to work on your pitch, and the client would be like, oh, that's great. And they would pay 10x what the other agency was paying. But the agency where they came from would also be able to say, we are the agency that did the Real Beauty sketches. So like we are going to win. Yeah. So you don't lose the value that they created. So I'm saying all this because I'm trying to give you a peek behind the curtain on how I see the dynamic on the creative space, which is if you are in early days on your career in the creative agency, you want to win awards because that will increase your value dramatically in the industry, and then another agency will come and hire you, and you're going to leave making 10x more money than you used to on your previous agency. And I want to be the client that everyone on the agency side will look and say, like, I want to work with that guy. Because that guy is going to fight for the idea that we're going to present. He's not going to be afraid of picking up a fight of his own company because it's always a fucking nightmare to approve stuff. Even for me, it's like, don't think, like, oh, he's a CMO. He did so much great stuff. It's kicking an open door. It's never like that. So I end up getting infinite times more ideas for probably equal or lower fee than a shitty client of the same agency. The junior guys that I haven't even briefed are presenting ideas to us because they know that there is a chance if they present to us that we're not going to chicken out of doing an idea or so it is important because if I am on the agency side and you are a brand that has someone who doesn't treat well the agency guys or doesn't get it, or cannot make a decision, or that I see that you have 100 billion stakeholders that you have to please and you don't have a spine and you just change your mind every time and your brief sucks and you don't have anything on your reel, I will make sure that I invest the least amount of time on you, and I will work with people like us at Burger King or now at Activision, because it will yield me a better return in terms of my career. So this is how it works. You know what I mean? Like, so for a marketeer that says like, oh, I don't value awards at all. I don't value, like, really, I don't make more money if I get an award. But what I do know is that if I win awards, I'll get better creative, ongoing. And that will help me make more money by selling more, by strengthening my brand, by doing things with less money. And if you don't get that dynamic and you're just proud to say like, oh, I don't care about awards, it's probably because you're doing shitty work. You know, like that's the reality of life. Sorry about my bluntness.
Great. No,
And apologies for the long answer to a very short question.
no, thank you. Thanks for that little glimpse into your thought process there. So getting back to the B2B channel, and in some case, again, it's B2B to C, right? So if you at Activision have a big press conference or announcement at CES, right, or E3, or even Comic-Con, that's a big leverage point, right?
Yeah, like, and we do a lot of, I do today probably like more B2B than I used to do in the past too. All the partnerships and CPG department from Activision Blizzard reports to me. So for instance, we are constantly like working to partner with other brands in our space, to get sponsorships, to sell media. We sell media, you know, like Candy Crush has more than 3 billion downloads historically. King, which is the company that does Candy Crush, has more than 250 million monthly active players. That's 20 Super Bowls every month. So like we sell media. So we do talk to brands and companies about those things all the time. I think that there is not a single day that I'm not talking to another company or another brand about a partnership idea or media or sponsorship. So it is a very integral part of the job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Switching gears, been a lot of buzz about the metaverse, and we're starting to see some investments in that area, particularly from luxury brands, among others, fashion brands. What are your thoughts? And again, from your unique perspective as CMO of Activision, I mean, video games are metaverse. I mean, this is not a new idea.
No. I think it became fashionable after Facebook got the rename. But like, as I said, I always play video game, always, my whole life. And I remember, I didn't play, but I remember seeing Second Life. This is back in 2004 or 5, maybe 6. I don't remember the year. And all the stuff that we talk about it on metaverse and this and that, it was all there. Like when I think about World of Warcraft, which is one of our games from Blizzard, when I think about Fortnite, which is not ours, like there are so many games that basically like replicate exactly like or very similarly like the description that I have of like what metaverse is. So to me, it's not necessarily like a new concept. It just became a bit more fashionable, and I think maybe a little bit more accessible because technology now is more available it's available for more people. But I think that if you are into that, there is a lot that you can learn just by looking into gaming and the dynamic that revolves around certain games that are like open platforms with people playing live and interacting with each other and just hanging around with each other.
Mm-hmm. Got a few more minutes. As Jared mentioned, you are kind of on the Brand Innovators World Tour. You've been an incredible fan and advocate. You speak at quite a few of our events. What do you get out of that? What is the value?
I think that the first connection I had with Brand Innovators was back in 2000 and it was 10 years ago.
13. It was 13.
Yeah, 13, right? It was in Unilever, in Blackfriars. You guys came, and I never heard about Brand Innovators before. And in last minute, someone said, "Why don't you go and present the Dove stuff that you guys are doing?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I crashed our auditorium and presented the Dove stuff that we're doing. And it was like, and still is, in my view, the main forum for marketing people. Because like, look, I go to CES, I go to South by, I go to Cannes, I go to all that stuff, Basel, but it's not necessarily like a marketing people event. You do have some marketing people there, but Cannes is a creative festival. There's probably more agency and production and now media companies than marketing, really. CES is more, CES South by is more like a tech world. So I never had a place where I could meet marketing people so easily from other companies and other brands. So that's like why I enjoy, you know what I mean? Like, because it feels like home. It feels like, oh, I'll go there and I'll talk to people who have the same problems that I have. Or have problems that I have and I didn't even notice I had. And just listening to them talk, like, oh, yeah, that's a problem, right? I mean, I didn't even realize I suffer from the same thing. Just listening to the previous panel, you know, like in terms of how to engage in purposeful work and how to do things with intention. Those are things that I face too. When I go to Cannes, I get a lot of inspiration, but I'm being presented things that are, maybe one day my brain will connect the dots and it will click, an idea will come out, but it's not necessarily a practical problem that I have. I think that the other thing is I was able to get to know certain new technologies. I was able to get to know new services that people have or new tools, which I don't think if I had not come here, I would get to know them so quickly or before they become mainstream. After they are mainstream, it's not a competitive advantage anymore. Everyone will be using them. So I think it gives me a window into what's coming, what will become hot. At the same time, it helps me connect with like-minded people who understand the marketing space. Like I was able to spot like great talent by participating, by joining the dinners. You know what I mean? Like, so to me, it's like it's probably the one marketing forum that's purely marketing that I participate. All others, they have marketing, but marketing is not at the epicenter of the event. And I was not brief to say that, by the way. I mean it.
So we're winding down. We've only got a couple more minutes. Do we have any questions for Fernando?
I think that like when we were talking outside, I think Bob said something which is like how I will poorly translate what you said, but the way it resonated with me was like, what tips would you give? Like, if someone wants to approach you to present something, or like, where do you draw the line of you are going to pay attention and engage or not, right? And to me, it goes back to like, now that I'm leading partnerships for Activision Blizzard, I have to ask that question the other way around, right? How can I get the attention of Coca-Cola or Unilever or like any company that I talk to? And the method I use is basically like, even before I open the conversation, I will study the hell out of you. You know, I will know inside and out. Unilever is easy because I work there. RBI is easy because I work there. Kraft Heinz, I never worked on Kraft Heinz. I never worked on AB InBev. I never worked on some of these other companies. I will go and I will read the annual report of the company. I will look at the presentations. I will do. I'm not going to. I don't delegate that stuff. You know, I will read myself the stuff. I will go and look at the interviews of the CMO. I will try to understand what was the latest work, what are the key brands that they have, what the latest work that they do. And when I come, when we present, things will make sense for that person. It will feel like, oh, holy shit, these guys know us. And I will show ideas. You know, I had so many people when I was at Burger King that would come to us and say, hey, we want to do a partnership. I'm like, great. What is it? No. Like, you pay us this money and you put your logo here. Like, no, I'm not interested in that. You know what I mean? Like, what's the idea? You know, like, oh, the idea, we are going to give you this celebrity. Like, that's not an idea. You know, like, what's the idea? So when we engage, we show ideas. So when people come to talk to me and I sense that, oh, these guys know my problems, you know, it's not that complicated to see what the problems are. Like, just Google like the company or read the annual report. And they know our brands. They know that Call of Duty did this, did that, did the other thing. They know that World of Warcraft has this problem and is trying to overcome by doing that. And they came with ideas that actually make sense. You know, like the best sales pitch I ever received, like a music company sends me an email saying, open the MP3 attached. You know, like, and I open and it's a recorded track for Burger King, like hired, you know, immediately. And we've worked with them for like 3-4 years. Or it's like, hey, we did an analysis on the flow of like the customer flow when people click on a banner to being able to buy something on the Call of Duty website. And here are like 3 things that if you change, you increase. I can prove to you that you increase by 17 higher. You know what I mean? Like what doesn't work is like is generic. You know, like it's like if I start reading something, it feels like it was copy pasted. Like sometimes I get copy pasted that has my the name of someone else. I'm not joking. Like I mean, you guys probably know that's true because you're laughing. It happens. Like I'm not saying that to sound arrogant or anything. I'm just trying to explain my approach. Like for instance, if I feel that you invested time to know my business, I will give you time back. You know, because you deserve it. Like you did your homework, you invested time, you came up with ideas. Like I feel like even if I'm not 100% interested, I will connect you to someone on the team, you know, like who might be a better person to talk to, who may understand that area better than I do. So that would be my answer to Babs on the question that he threw, like while he was like grabbing his coffee outside. And I hope it's helpful to you.
Great.
Questions? We have questions.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, Kayla Johnson from Viant Technology. I'm wondering your thoughts on in-game advertising and how Activision's audiences feel about in-game advertising.
Really good question. I think, look, I think it depends on the game and depends on the advertising. Like when I presented in Cannes, I presented an example that I thought it was really good, which was I showed the first TV spot ever aired in the US, which I think is 1951. Don't quote me on that. You can Google, and Google knows better. That's a plug for Google. And it was a Bulova ad for the watch. And the ad was just a watch, and a narrator, a voiceover would say, it's 6:45, it's Bulova time. That was it. Yeah? That was the first TV spot aired. And that TV spot is a radio ad, basically, right? I mean, there's no move, like it's just a watch and a voice that reads the thing. And the reason why it's like that, it's because usually when a new medium comes, people tend to think about that medium with the paradigm of the previous one. So when you started to have TV ads, people were thinking about TV ads as radio ads, okay? Why the hell I'm telling you this? Well, because I think that most likely the best advertising in-game is probably not going to be just a copy-paste of what we know that works in the real world in the game. Like, there is a big difference between airing an ad for people that are watching the Super Bowl and putting an ad in the game. The biggest difference is that when we are watching the Super Bowl, we're sitting there watching the thing, right? When you're playing the game, you are the player of the Super Bowl. So it would be like you going and saying, hey, to the guys running on the field, right, with a soap bar, saying like, guys, like the guys are running on the field of Super Bowl, why don't you buy the soap bar? You know, like that's what it would be the equivalent of slapping people. So I think you need to, so what does it work? I think you should try different things. Like, I think you should first understand what makes the community of players tick, because it's different depending on the game you're talking. Like, gaming is for everyone, but different games for different people, right? I mean, some games is older, younger, male, female, like, so it's different. What makes that community tick? And how can your brand, because like, remember, no one is asking for your brand there on the game, but like, how can your brand come and add value for those guys? You know, how can you make the community like you? And I don't think that necessarily it will always be, oh, it needs to be by putting a billboard inside of the game. You know, there might be different ways to do it. And we are trying to do different ways. Does that help? Yeah. Cool. I think we have one more.
Hi, I'm Karina Cordova. I am from Brandwatch. My question is, I love that you mentioned community because it ties into my question. How do you guys leverage like community on like your own platform, especially like games like World of Warcraft and like social and things like that to drive your marketing plans and things like that?
It's really, really critical. You know, like it's different than any category I've worked on. Like if we do a bad ad for Dove, it's not going to work. People are not going to notice. If you do a bad ad for Burger King, it's not going to work. People are not going to notice. You're not going to sell more. If you do something bad for World of Warcraft, you're screwed. You know, like people will come after you, like online, Reddit. Like the level of fandom that people have for the game is unlike anything I have ever seen. The closest it gets is soccer fans, like in Brazil and Brazilian. That's the closest it gets. Maybe not even. Okay, it's like people. The game is theirs. You know what I mean? Like they discuss the level of detail of little things that you may change or adjust in the game, like they own the game basically. So it's super ultra important, you know, like to identify who are the key influencers in that community, to listen to them, to take action, or explain why you're not doing something when they are complaining. Like when they complain, it's not like, oh, you get one email. No. It's rage, you know, like they burn you like online. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to develop that relationship. We have our game teams many times on Twitch. You have our game teams all the time on YouTube or on Twitter, engaging with people. You know, like all the most of the GMs, which is kind of like the head of the game, yeah, on Activision Blizzard, they have like thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. You know, like check like the Blizzard president, his following base on Twitter. You know, and why? Is because he's engaging with those people and talking to them. So it's essential. You know, like, and I don't think that Dove will ever be like that, or maybe it will. Like, I think that the vision should be to have that level of fandom. But I think that if you're not, there is a lot that you can learn from why is that. You know, why? That's a whole new presentation. Like, why people have that level of engagement with gaming versus other categories, and how can you tap into that? That was always one of the things that fascinated me the most on gaming, and that's why I work on gaming. One of the reasons why I work on gaming. And I think that if you are in CPG and other categories, it's really worth studying a bit that to see what you can learn and what you can leverage. Cool. Thanks for your question.
Okay. Wait, there's a game.
Yes.
There's a game tonight, not a video game.
Yes.
Who's playing tonight? Where are you going to be at 7 o'clock tonight?
Oh my God. I am completely obsessed about my soccer team back in Brazil. And I don't miss a single match. So tonight I will probably go to because there are other crazy people like me. We have like 2 or 3 places where fans from my team are going to watch the game, and I'm going to one of those places, right. Which in other words is a bar.
Okay, from virtual to
yes,
reality. Okay, well, thank you, Fernando.
My pleasure.
Fabulous
Thank you, guys.
session.
Thank you.